So I'll look up this author because I like this book, and then I'll read about him, and one of the things will be like, he had dementia, and if I don't know what dementia is, I click on that, and then dementia will be like, oh, it's a neurodegenerative disease, and then I'll click on that, and then, oh, it's because of not proper aminos in the brain, and now I'm looking at aminos. Like, I just go on these rabbit holes of learning one thing to another where I don't even remember that I looked at this guy in his book. I'm like learning about some conspiracy or something, like just going too deep into stuff, math, and looking up math. But I didn't graduate high school, but I know fractal geometry and like the fundamentals of platonic solids and like all that type of shit. And it's like, I spent too much time on the internet, like in a good way though, you know, there's worse things you could do, especially nowadays with like TikTok and stuff like that.
There's much worse things you could do with the internet.
There's this girl, I went over to her house and whatever, but she started showing me TikTok videos. And I, it was whatever, but after like 5 of them, I was like, all right, it's time for me to go.
Yeah.
I can't hang out and watch your TikToks with you, I'm sorry.
I can't hang when somebody's like, just wants to sit next to me and scroll through their phone. Sir, please.
Me and my child's mother, I realized that like certain things in relationships that you think are fine, you know what I mean? You don't see them as like a negative thing. Like, oh yeah, it's our nighttime routine for us to go lay in bed together and just totally neglect each other because we're on our phones, but we're still spending time, but it's not, and I realized now that is something that I'll never accept. If you want to sit on your phone, do it when I'm at work. You got all day to sit on your phone, and you're still gonna do it when I'm home. Like, you obviously something there,
Yeah.
But like I said, it's not like you don't realize those things are negative in a relationship.
Especially because when it comes to spending so much time on your phone, or I feel like even screens in general, there's a little dopamine addiction element there. Like you're distracted from the life that's immediately around you, and you're also getting this constant quick validation and reinforcement, and you're consuming content, and the moment that you're not interested, you skip to the next thing, and when you find something that holds your interest, you like zone in the moment
Yeah. And that algorithm is so based on, they know, especially like, I know I'm probably crazy, but I put tape over my front camera because it's not like they're watching me, but they have AI that tracks the way that your facial expressions when you watch things. So that's how your algorithm works, is it sees how you react to the things you look at, not how much, and they have other things too, like how much screen time and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was thinking like how long you stay on a certain video.
They do have that, but for an certain extent, because there's been videos that I've sat on that I didn't like or watch, but it was there while I set my phone down. Or just because I watched a full ad doesn't mean I like that ad. So I think they are aware of that. That's how old algorithms worked, was how much time you spent watching something. Now they have AI that tracks facial expressions. And so you're having this dopamine thing, like, and they can tell, like, oh, we're not satisfying them enough.
Yeah.
Give them this video.
Your pupils dilate.
Yeah, they can, or they can tell, oh, he only lasts this long, and they can see the unamusement in my eyes. So they're like, we got to give him something quick, otherwise he's gonna put the phone away. So I feel like they have that like matched down too. They will want us to interact with each other. Exactly.
Yeah. I worry so much about the next generation of people growing up who have always had that technology around them. I hope that somehow they're more resistant to it than us, but I feel like there's going to be this ugly phase that we're in right now where you get all these kids that are addicted to screens, like really, really addicted to screens, and then parents and adults around them that we've barely learned how to exist with this technology and not get addicted to it.
Yeah.
So then our kids get it, but so much more intensely.
Right.
And we don't even know how to approach it,
Yeah, as a parent, it is a difficult thing to approach because I know that there's nothing I can do for it to not exist.
Yeah.
I could hide in the woods and live in the wood. And I want to live in the woods, but still have technology, because technology is
Yeah.
a tool. I use it for this. If you like making music, like there's things that you can use technology for. And one of my biggest opinions on that too is know what you're going to look up. Don't have them give you what they want you to see. So when you go on
Yeah.
YouTube to look at and watch YouTube videos, you should say, how is paper made? And then you go, like how I'm going on these rabbit holes on Wikipedia. Should be something like that. Like you want to learn something, so you go and find it. Then you can continue to learn more from that source. But to go on there being like, I'm just going to scroll until I find something worth watching. You
Yeah,
know?
and I feel like the answer to it is definitely to teach our kids how to use it responsibly. And oh, it's tricky,
It is
but
tricky.
I think that when they're adults, then they'll be really good, hopefully, at handling their next
Right.
generation's relationship to technology.
Or it'll be like the parent thing where you're like, I'm never going to be like them. So maybe it'll take a generation. It might take this whole generation to grow up and have kids for that generation to depart from like the technology ruling their life. But with the implement of AI and robots and all that type of stuff, like
It's just getting more tricky and more addictive and more deceiving. The AI is crazy.
yeah,
There's even jokes about how deceiving AI is with
Right.
people falling for like the bunnies on the trampoline and stuff like
the
that.
bunnies on the trampoline.
I didn't see it, but apparently there's a fake AI video of bunnies jumping on a trampoline that a lot of people thought was real
Okay.
and were kind of playfully distraught when it came out that it was AI. But it was
True.
so realistic and convincing that just a lot of normal people were
I've
like,
definitely had some old heads be like telling me some stuff, and then no, like I don't know, that you just don't. We grew up seeing the evolution of it, so we can see the uncanny valley, where other people don't have the sixth sense for it.
yeah.
You know, I feel like if you don't psychedelics do that, something that might unlock that for some people, where they can they know what real is.
They can see it a little more. I've definitely sent some videos to my best friend, and she's hit me back and been like, "Dude, that's not real. That's totally fake."
And you were convinced that it was real, or were you doing it to test them?
I was convinced. I think a lot of the time I feel like I can tell, like if something's wrong with it.
Yeah.
But then she'll send me some fake AI videos and be like, "See all this fake stuff?" And I'm like, gosh, I know that must be fake. I'm sure that Donald Trump didn't, wear a red dress and like sing this song on the stage, but gosh, they really nailed it. It looks so convincing.
You didn't see that? It was inauguration night. He grew out his hair. What hair? But
I think
yeah.
that's where it gets really tricky too. Really precarious is when it comes to our politics, because you can make a really convincing video now and push any political narrative, and I think that's why there's all this buzz about interference from other countries too. Sometimes is that they're putting a lot of false media on Facebook and stuff.
Where they can just pump out. They can have AIs making AIs to saturate the media with propaganda.
Yeah, and then you get all these regular, pretty, reasonable people,
Yeah.
seeing a video and they're like, "Whoa, what the heck?"
Yeah. That's one thing too that I've noticed that is the checking of sources, and obviously. Media in general has a lot of been like, even since newspaper, you're like, well, I saw it in the newspaper. But now there's not even like a newspaper could be a source technically. But now your source is someone on TikTok said, did you know? And then you believe it, or you look up on Google, did this happen? Instead of, I've realized with Google is very particular. You could look up a study instead of just a question. So if your question is tea good for you? You're going to get yes and no's. But if you look up studies that prove that this type of tea is beneficial, then you get actual government source. And so back in school when we did a paper or something like that, they would be like 3 sources or 5 sources. I don't know if they still practice that in school. My kid's not old enough for me to have seen that. But it feels like it's a dying thing where it's like, don't even look for where this information came from.
I do feel like a lot of people are taking things at face value. It takes a lot of energy. We get bombarded with so much information and so many crazy headlines that it's a lot of energy to go and look every single thing up. And I
Right.
think a lot of people are just like, I don't have the time in the day for
You
it.
don't.
Yeah.
I used to be very into conspiracies and like the things that are wrong with the world and stuff like that. But once I realized that I can only like control my own world, that's where it is. It's like I could either spend all day every day learning everything, and then I only benefit myself because I don't socialize and communicate, or I could just learn from people and try to fix myself in my community or my circle. Because I always try to preach that with people that are like super political, but they are still addicted to sugar or something. Like they have something that I see as this innate flaw, where I'm like, you can't even control yourself. How are you to tell me that I'm making my choices wrong? Like you can't even like have discipline over eating a thing of ice cream every night. And people will say, I'm such a sugar addict, and it's like they don't realize that that's the most addictive thing. And if you've never taken a day from it, then you're in this world where you don't know what discipline is. You don't know how to break free from something. And that's what scares me, is I see all these people that are super political, but they don't have any like discipline or self-control. And so that makes me, like you're saying, just so easy to just accept what they've told. You know what I mean? Instead of being like, oh, I wonder what it would be like without that. They only know it as it is. So I always think with those people when they're talking political, the circle, that's what I was saying, it's starting with your circle. Like you can't affect the big world unless you can affect your small world. So if you can be disciplined and control your own life to whatever extent that your environment allows you to, then you can help other people, whether that's your kids or your parents or your good friends. And then once you can do that, you could maybe help your community. Once you can help your community, then at that point, everyone's helping each other and you can make an actual impact in something.
Yeah, you can once you can once you can connect with your community and feel like you're making a positive impact, yeah, then you have a lot more people in your own social network and a lot more social capital to be able to say, what kind of resources can we all pool now and make something
Right,
bigger? I think
right.
that's why there's a lot of really interesting grassroots movements in big cities, because that community level is so broad already. So it's like once you start that seed, you can just grow and grow and grow, and you can get so many people involved. Or also on the flip side, why sometimes in a smaller community, you can make sometimes maybe more profound community change if people are open to it, because
True.
you can get the majority of folks in the area on board.
Okay. That makes sense. There's this thing, I forget what it's called. It's not Maslow's, because that's the hierarchy.
Maslow's hierarchy of
I think
needs.
it's Pavlov's faces or something like that.
Pavlov.
No, Pavlov's is something else.
I think he did an experiment with dogs.
Yeah. Okay, who am I thinking of? There's the 1 + 1 is 3. Who's that guy? Oh, I forget. Anyways, there's this guy, and they have this. They did the studies and stuff. You're fine. You don't gotta look it up. This guy, you can only remember so many faces and so many names. And so I think when you're saying the influence on a small community, I think when you can see people as people, it helps you to feel more involved.
Yeah.
When you're in a group of 10,000 people, there's still going to be lots of separation. You know, everyone who's a fan of this artist are not going to get along, but everyone who knows each other can put differences aside
Yeah.
for a common goal.
I think that I want to know a little bit more too about what's going on with mutual aid in small communities, because I've talked to a couple people and I kind of wrote it off always as, oh, well, that community is just more affluent, you know, there's more privilege or more resource. But I've met a lot of people saying, you know, that they come to Duluth and they're really shocked at our homeless population, and then they say, in my town, nobody's homeless, you know, or in their community. And
Are they from a big city?
no,
Okay, I was
from
gonna
a
say.
small
I mean
area.
Duluth is pretty small, but it's a port hub. It's
Yeah.
like it has big city energy, and big cities is where all the homeless people are.
Yeah, and I can't help but wonder, like, if somebody falls into a similar circumstance, but they live in a town of 500 people or something, a really small town where everybody knows everybody, if people are a little bit more likely to step up on an individual level and try to help each other. You know, because again, you don't have that anonymity. Like, I'm sure it can still happen for
Right.
sure, but I think I wonder if the community ties create a little bit more of a safety net.
They definitely, I can see that 100%
Yeah.
happening. And when you run out of people to burn, I think that's what it is. When you live in a big city, you can always find a new friend group to gain trust and rob. And like when you live that type of life, not saying homeless people do that, but some drug addicts and stuff like that, that's the life they live, is they just move around gaining trust and stealing from people. And that you stay at one person for a week until you gain their trust and take their stash, and you just go from one place to another. And if you're in a small town, you do that to your grandma and your best friend, and then no one trusts you. And then, I don't know, I feel like there's more room for growth. Like you're saying, like people will...
The treadmill stops moving
Yes.
sooner. You can't stay in that same state as long because it's just not going to be sustainable.
Right. There's nothing sustainable about it. You'd end up just being like in a truck in the middle of a field somewhere. And you're just like, well, everyone hates me now. And I either fix my life or live off, what do they call it? Shucking corn.
Or move to a city.
Or move, yeah, I might as well move to a city now and see if I can gain some people's trust.
Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. It's such a catch-22. I think that's one of the things that I appreciate, though, about being in Duluth, because it's such a small, big town, you know?
Right.
That there's that aspect of smaller community where you and I know some of the same people, even though we might not have met each other until recently. And there's all of that. I feel like if I were to have a mental breakdown and go into psychosis, there's a community of people that wouldn't let me like slip through the cracks, you know?
Right.
But then at the same time, it's big enough that there are cracks to slip through, and also there's more community to pool. I feel like we can do cool things for Duluth.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's so many people and such a wide range of resources here.
Yeah, yep. No, Duluth is definitely like a big resource city. And like you were saying, it's small, big. Like, no matter who you think you know, there's a connection. It might be their cousin's sister's cousin to your marriage. You know, it might not be like how we know familiar friends or something, but there's everyone that you meet in Duluth is going to be in one way or another connected by something, unless they're just moved here or something, you know.
Yeah. I love that. It always makes me feel like there's some kind of serendipitous magic about this place.
Yeah. No, one thing that I think is super magical about this is being able to look forever. And I think that creatives and artists are made in places where you can observe for long distances. So
like looking out over the lake.
Yeah, so ocean cities, lake cities, mountains. Those are always like where the most creative people come from. And it's because you can get to places. If you're up on a mountain, you can look forever. If you're by the lake, you can look. Like, how many places in the world can you look and not see something?
Yeah, don't forget the deserts, too.
And deserts, too. Like, you can look forever and ever. I think maybe that might be a little bit different with flatness. So as long as you can have, like, a hill that makes it so you feel like you're up and looking over, I think it comes from that, too. Like, you can find... It might feed the ego in a weird way, but you can feel like you're above and you can observe. You know, you stand on the top of Ely's Peak and you're the tallest person in the city right now. You can see everywhere, and I think that's like a thing that gives people something. Whether it's, I've noticed that whenever I'm inside, my thoughts they're stuck in this room. They're bouncing off. I don't have, maybe if you looked out the window, you could get some more thoughts because you're looking at shit.
Yeah, I'm getting that.
But if you're outside walking around in nature, it's like, oh, this and that, and you just have so many inputs that you can choose what you want to output. Where if your input is just limited, then your outputs are going to be limited. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's an interesting perspective. Yeah. I definitely feel something, when I look over the lake or in the desert when I just can see for so long, or if I'm up in the mountains and looking down across a valley or something, it's like there's more air for you to breathe.
More air for you to breathe, more space for you to think.
You can just feel your heart kind of open up a little bit.
Especially if it's nature. You get that nature. Oh, last night, me and him, we went hammocking, and it just was nice just to sit in my hammock and look up at the trees and hear the creek and some quiet, you know. Life is bustling fast and all these things and wait, and every once in a while, you just get a day where you can just like detach from all those things, which is, you can't live in detachment because then you'll never get anything beneficial done. But if you can find space and time to like, one of my biggest problems is I like have trouble relaxing. I feel like I've spent, even though it was my youth,
Yeah.
I feel like I've wasted time, which is good that I did in my youth instead of now, but it's like I feel like I have time to make up for.
Yeah.
And so there's any time I find downtime, I'm like, oh, I could be doing this or I should be doing this, instead of being like, you deserve a break. Like, I won't do that to myself a lot of times, unless I'm in the woods or like at my grandparents' cabin. Those are environments where I can find myself, enjoy myself, and not like feel the weight of my life on my shoulders, which is good. As a man, you got to be like, I need to do something with my life. You can't just be like, I like relaxing. You know, I mean, you can, but how are you going to like hold up a community and stuff like that? If that's like your role in society, is to be someone that's a community leader or help your friends and your family and stuff like that. You gotta be on your stuff. You can't just slack or escapism.
Yeah. Yeah, also growth comes from being able to face some discomfort head on. And
Right.
if you're chilling out all the time, you're making lots of space within yourself, but if you don't grow a little bit and step back into that hustle and bustle, how are you gonna bring that space back to your
Right.
community?
And I think that space that you create in isolation or solitude, obviously it's super beneficial, but too much of it, like how we were talking about my old best friend and schizophrenia, a lot of that came from, we would want to hang out with him, and from an outsider perspective, it seemed beneficial. I'm going to stay home and meditate today. Until he's telling us that what he's meditating is with spirits that are helping him. And, you know, and it's like too much of that solitude. He opened all these spaces, and now it caused like psychosis. I think that's a problem too, is you got to keep yourself busy.
Yeah.
Otherwise you open yourself up for that. And I have another quote that I kind of made myself.
A cult?
A quote.
A quote.
Yes. I kind of say it as the man who sits accomplishes nothing. But I want to add to that, like the man who sees forward. You know, like thinking is good. So sitting and calculating your decisions. You know, the man who plans his decisions accomplishes more than the man who thinks about his thoughts, or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, because like Buddha and sitting under the tree, and like that's very philosophical, and you can find out a lot, but do you ever really accomplish much? And your accomplishment could be that's suggestive to people's idea of success. So if your success is there's now a religion based on you, well, you obviously did something. But if it's you had a family and raised kids and stuff, you can't do that if you just sit and think all day. And like you were saying with philosophy, I like philosophy a lot. So thinking is important, but you just can't think all day. I don't know. There's a fine line between that.
If you spend all your time thinking, then eventually all you're gonna have to think about is your own thoughts. Yeah, and then where will you be?
Bad. It's me and me. No one can tell me I'm wrong.
Right. Yeah.
I think that's one of my favorite traits that I have about myself is even when I'm stuck up on certain opinions, I'm always willing to emphasize and listen to someone else's. Even if I still feel right, I'll still like give you the light to say why I'm wrong or why you're right, instead of being like, nah. Well, actually.
Yeah. What a closed off experience if you can never hear other people's perspectives and really listen to them. Yeah. I feel like we help each other so much when we can consider that maybe there's another way, maybe there's a better way to think. A lot of the time when I bring up an idea, I feel like one of the most important parts of bringing up an idea to somebody is being ready to change your view.
Right.
Not necessarily to be more agreeable, but just like, oh, I didn't consider that. Yeah, maybe there's another angle I hadn't seen before.
Or you're not asking to tell your opinion. That's one thing that I try to do when I make short talk. Let's say I'm at work and there's new people or whatever. And I don't know, I'm always open and willing to talk about anything. But like I want people to become comfortable with me first. So a lot of times I just ask random questions. Like, if you could have any superpower, what would it be? Just random stuff like that. But I never know what my question is. I try to make sure that I don't have the opinion first. So I'll just like come up with a question and ask the person, wanting to hear their answer. And
Not
then if
ready
they don't
to
ask
say
me,
yours.
I don't tell them. I don't go, oh yeah, well mine's this. I just leave it at that. If they happen to ask me, then I will think about it. And I think that that's a really good practice that I've taught myself, because it's not just your favorite color or something like that. You should listen to people. And if you can train yourself to not need to say anything about yourself, then you can just be a listener. And I think that's super important. It's something that I've struggled with, because sometimes I want to as a man, you want to give people help, advice. I have this problem, but sometimes you just need to listen to people, you know? And so that's something I've tried to train myself on. I'm not perfect, but just to be able to sit there and be like, I don't need to say anything besides, like, I'm here for you, or I hear you, whatever that is. I think that another role that I like to play is seeing where someone could have helped me in my life, and just to be that to people. So, like, to be the ears for all my friends, or like I told you how I say I love you and hug my friends, because other guys might not have had that with that's not male energy, you know? But I can train them to be like, it's okay to, like...
You can train them.
Yeah. Here, boy, I'll give you a treat if you give me a hug.
Pavlov conditioning.
That's the Pavlov.
Oh, that's the dog.
That's the guy. He made up a condition.
That's the salivating with the noise, right?
Fluid and recognition.
Your buddies want to hug you every time you have a spliff or something together.
Yeah. Every time you get a joint, I'm like, hey, buddy.
Wow, I just really feel like I need a hug now.
Yeah. I don't even want to hit it, I swear. Okay.
Or the other way around. You hug them goodbye and they're like, maybe we should stay, smoke a little bit.
Types of drugs. Here's a little acid.
Yeah.
Get some of these shrooms.
Yeah. Me and Army's meeting story is pretty good. I got off work, and our other mutual friend that found the pigeon with him just invited me over to his house. And I hadn't, like, seen him around, maybe, you know, like, we all hung out in the same area, so even if we didn't know each other. And I went over there, and he had two other friends, and they were tripping. And I think I might have just microdosed after work or something. Like, I was at a perfect level where I could just, like, spiel information. And I, like, talked about math and the government and how they're doing this. And I just, like, went on this huge thing. And I just remember everyone in the room, like, I talked for probably 3 hours straight. And everyone just stared at me. Like, mouth open, like...
You gave a lecture.
I gave a lecture, and I just, like... I don't know what the other two thought of me, because I never said anything. But Army was like, I don't know if it was a month after hanging out or something like that, but he was like, that day, like, you helped me see something, whatever it was. And ever since
Showed me
then,
the truth.
you know, we would do acid and bike, and it's like the trauma bond in a good way. Like, we did so many drugs that we're just bonded to each other now.
I think we should bring back the soapbox speech a little bit. I mean, imagine that you go downtown with a group of friends and you just stand on a milk crate and give your
I think I should do
spiel,
that.
your rant, and all your friends sit around and watch you. Because that creates the illusion that you're just attracting a crowd.
Yeah.
I wonder if other people would join your friends.
Will you
thinking
join
that
if I
they're
do that?
Joining the crowd. I would show up.
Okay,
yeah.
I'll get everyone that's ever been on the pod. I'll invite my parents. I'll get like 80 people to gather around me, and then just all of Duluth will come eventually. And in the morning there was light. I'll just create a whole religion off the top of my head. And the asteroids, when they came, panspermia, the aliens mutated with cattail plants, and that's why they're edible, because of aliens.
You got pourquoi tails and everything.
Pourquoi? Oh, is that what cattails are?
I think, I hope I'm not wrong, we might have to fact check
Yeah,
this.
get the
I think
fact
a pourquoi tale, I think, is the name for a story that explains the origin of something, or like why something is.
Oh.
And I think that a lot of spiritualities and religions have stories like that.
Yeah.
Like why the sun orbits the earth, or why the crow's black and stuff like that.
True. When you don't have, not to build it this way, but when you don't have science to explain something, you have a story instead.
Yeah.
As humans, we can never not have a dot
Have a
unconnected.
reason.
We always have to connect a dot. That's one thing that I first observed when I like started opening my mind, was that I am connecting dots to make things make sense, even if they aren't, and they seem like it. That's why I'm so convinced. And I just realized that as like a innate flaw in humans, that we just will connect dots just to feel like we know. because it's uncomfortable to be in the space of limbo, you know? You want to be on one side or the other.
Unless you're a philosopher.
Unless you're a philosopher. That's true.
Then that's like where you go to play.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
your playground.
That's fun to say that, because I find myself in that spot most of the time throughout the day. I forget what they call it, God thought or something like that. It's a space that you go to mostly in like solitude or monotonous tasks, like that spot that you are in your head. You can have it when you're alone, but sometimes when you're alone, you're grocery shopping or, you know, and that's a determined mindset. But when you're in that mindset where you're just in wander, I like that spot a lot.
Yeah.
It's like my favorite place to be. I spent a lot of time there as a kid, and I used to not like it. I used to think it was like depression or something like that, being alone or something like that. But as I've gotten older, I'm like, man, I wish I enjoyed more time alone and like wrote or something like that instead of being like, I'm sad. I should have been like, all right,
Yeah.
why am I sad? Why am I happy?
Oh, yeah.
Do a Venn diagram.
That type of journaling can be really helpful sometimes. It's a little nerve-wracking because you don't necessarily know if you're going to come to a good conclusion, but I had several periods where I was really into journaling, and I would be writing about something and then I'd pause and I'd write in the journal, why is that? Or why do you feel that way? What's going on there? And then I'd try to answer my own questions and end up realizing maybe something really unflattering, like, oh, well, seems connected to this
Damn.
maladaptive coping mechanism.
That's cool that you
or,
aren't
yeah.
lying to yourself.
Yeah, it's a good way to uncover something that maybe when you're cycling in your head, you're never completing the thought to that degree, you know?
Right.
You're on level 1, but if you can write it down and start to break it down and ask yourself questions, then you can get down to, oh.
That's true too. And a lot of times
Yeah.
it's like the first thing you think of without thinking, you know? So
Yeah.
like we were doing Mad Libs last night, and I would just say like a describing word, and then we would sometimes take too long to think of it. The first describing word, bumpy. Like you just come into it, and so if you ask yourself, what's wrong with me?
I'm bumpy.
Self-obsessed or something, you know, like you'll just instantly say what it is.
Yeah.
And sometimes the first thing you come up with isn't true, but if you feel it, you know, you're like, damn, I know. Like you suppress it by thinking more. Oh, but it can't be that because this defense mechanism, and then you find a way to convince yourself or lie to yourself that it's not you that's the problem. So being able to like write that down, and then, because that's pretty much the first thought. Writing is the same way as like just talking. Like you don't think about what you just start putting it out and it comes out. It just comes out of you. That's one thing. Like when I write memories or something like that, it'll start out as this one story about this one thing I did, but then I'll remember that person from 6th grade and I write a little thing on it. And then so my story that's supposed to be like this has like all these little things on the side because I got to remember so many other things in that moment. I don't know. It's definitely powerful, journaling and writing. As long as you don't lie to yourself. So.
As long as you don't lie to yourself, as long as you're real about your problems, and you're like,
Yeah.
maybe the reason I'm so tortured about this guy is actually related to an unfulfilled relationship I have with a parental figure.
Yeah. Learning
Maybe
about that.
he's not the worst person. Maybe, you're like,
I just
maybe
watched
that's
like
what
a
unmet needs.
3-hour podcast on just relationships and just the psychology behind them and all those things. And that was one of those things that I found really interesting was that I always thought it was like guys marry their moms and girls marry their dads, but it's the worst parental figure. So whoever was the worst parental trait is what you look for because you need to resolve it. You haven't resolved it with your parents, so you resolve it. And even if you have resolved it with your parents, you haven't resolved it with your inner child.
Yeah.
So you fulfill it with these relationships. And it's like, someone I was talking to, I was explaining this to them, and they're like, oh, I always date alcoholic women because my dad was alcoholic. And I'm like,
Oh.
Now you know. Don't do that.
Now you know. And going against that is really interesting and tough because it doesn't strike you the same way. You're like in a relationship that isn't chaotic or something, and it feels like something's almost wrong. That you're like, this isn't really is this what love feels like? You know, this isn't what I learned that love feels like. But also, my life is a lot more peaceful and tranquil. And
Yeah, you don't. It's not like you feel like I don't deserve good, but you're not used to it. So it's like a subconscious. You're like,
You have to
this can't
retrain
be,
yourself.
one of those things is the good. You expect something bad to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I have that one where it's like, okay, karma, like, if something's good happening to me, it's got a balance. But it might not. It might only, I might have already had all the suffering I need to in my life. Might only be good from now. You shouldn't sign yourself up for it. It's going to be jolly. Nothing bad will ever happen again.
Yeah.
But,
Get caught off guard.
all my personal trials could be done. And now the trials are losing parents and those other things that will happen in your life
Yeah.
no matter what. That might be the bad things that I have to go through now. I might have already had all the the things you cause to yourself.
Yeah, the self-induced troubles. Yeah. I know. I think about when really good things are happening, I think I feel like I'm riding these waves and know that there's going to be really tough low times and there's going to be really high times. So when you're at a high time, you can be like, oh, that means maybe eventually next, there's going to be some kind of
Right.
low. But I
Why
think
can't it be like this though?
it probably is.
It feels low because you just got used to a new high, but that low is higher than your other high used to be.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
trying to find your steps in that.
Yeah.
Be aware of that for sure.
Yeah, I think there's like ways to look at it where you're really appreciating the present and looking at like, what about this do I want to keep doing? And something hard happens, you come at it with all the new lessons that you've been learning. And
I just pretty much just went through that I was really on my grind and doing good and had tonsil issues and emergency surgery and then this last couple months slacking on things that are productive for me. But then I realized, like I was just saying, this is the best I've been in my life, even though it's the worst it's been in the last 2 years.
yeah.
Like I'm mad at myself right now, but this is better than what I was all those years ago. Like it's just so much, it's still the best that I've been in so long or whatever. And then I became okay with it. I was like, oh, I gave myself like a hug inside. I was like, you deserve good things and you need to relax and learn how to enjoy life a little bit more. Like that.
Yeah.
Like I was talking about trying to find ways to relax. Like that was a big problem of mine. This whole last year was
Wearing yourself too thin.
worrying myself. And now I'm like, if it doesn't get done so that I can be happy, sometimes that's more important. Otherwise I'm going to get burnt out and be a bad dad because I'm worried about editing a video. No, I'm going to spend the night with my daughter. I don't edit on nights I have my daughter because that's more important. Her development's more important than the things I want to do with my life. Being able to take a step back and enjoy the moment instead of future-based thoughts. I got over my past, but now I need to get over my future.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, sometimes I catch myself living in the near future a little bit too much, so I'm missing out on the present. But I'm not even looking that far out, but just what's going on in the next 2 days, what's going on in the next 3 hours.
Or even today, yeah. Like you can be in the morning where you're anxious or something like that. I'm always super anxious before these, even when it's someone I feel comfortable talking to. It's always because it's like, it's the anticipation, the pre-trip anxiety. It's like, even if everything's going to be good, it's still that like you're saying, you're living in the future instead of the now. Even if the future for you is only 3 hours, you're still like, worrying about that 3 hours from now.
Yeah, I like things that like snap me out of it. I think that's why I like working in the hospital and why I like doing art and things like that, because those are things that command your attention so much that in a way, when you're somebody's nurse, it is part of your job to be thinking about their future, and planning, but you also have to be so present for them when you're taking care of them. And like when I'm at someone's bedside, I'm 100% with them, and that's really grounding, especially for somebody that tends to get off in their head and make a million different plans for a million different possible outcomes. And with art, sometimes it's nice to have an idea of where you're going, or you're changing your mind as you go, but at the end of it, while you're making the brushstroke, you have to be really focused on exactly what you're doing.
Right.
It's kind of meditative.
It is meditative. I find myself, I don't know how you're, like how you started drawing, but I usually start with a circle in the middle of my page. Like I'll do a circle and I'll turn that into whatever it turns into, instead of like and the opposite of that, some people make really good realistic drawings. You know, like that's their thing, is they're really good at, like, I'm gonna draw a horse and it looks like a horse. For me, if I was like, I'm gonna make a horse, by the end of it, it's like a wheelbarrow with a horse's head, and it's like a bong pushing it. Like, all right, well, whatever that is that's what I made.
Yeah.
And so it's like the free flow compared to the execute a plan.
Do you have what does your visual imagination look like? Do you have a visual imagination?
Yeah, and words. I have inner dialogue and visual. So
How vivid is your imagination?
it has gotten worse since being a kid, for sure, because of just the stress and stuff like that, of being an adult and disconnecting from your youth and stuff like that. But trying to find that more. I've been better at it recently. But I think you just switch. You go from fascination and fantasy to, like you're saying, 10,000 outcomes with 20,000 possibilities. Because that's still imagination. You wouldn't worry about the future if you didn't have imagination.
That's a good point.
So I think I just traded a little bit too much, and I need to just give a little bit back to the side of imagination. You know?
Yeah, a little bit too practical and not silly enough.
Yeah, not fantasy enough, not silly enough, for sure. Yeah. How about you? What's
my visual imagination
Yeah.
like? It's pretty wild. It's kind of, I think I could liken it to my dream world. You know, like when I'm in my dreams, things are really vivid and surreal and impossible.
Okay.
I can visualize things that are literally impossible, couldn't even exist, you know, in like a physical way.
So it's like different dimensional things, like 4D and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and like
Interesting.
you know, in the same way that I could remember a dream, and then when I try to even draw the dream, I realize that I can't draw it because it can't
be drawn.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, you know. So I think that for my imagination really runs away with me sometimes, and there have been periods where I didn't make a lot of art, but I would just close my eyes and think.
I like to do that.
Just close my eyes and see things.
Yeah.
And
That's cool that you have
yeah.
I've recently met people that have changed. I thought that's how everyone was.
Yeah.
And then people have told me, they're like, no, I don't even think with words.
Yeah.
They think with feeling. How would this taste? How would this feel?
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa.
Or one of my coworkers pointed to this chart, and it was of an apple. I think this has become more common.
Test, yeah.
Yeah. I'm definitely on the side of it could be perfectly realistic. Like you could see something perfectly as real as day in your mind, you know? Or you can change it in infinite ways.
That's mine. My mind has a mind of its own. So I can see and make something, but by the time I visualize it, it's something new. So an apple will turn into a skull, it turns into a spider, that's a flower. Like it just like very psychedelic, like it just moves fluidly on its own. Sometimes I have to try to like rewind it, bring it back to the apple, but then it evolves itself again. It's super weird, but I like it. It's like, it's not something that I'm like, oh man. But
can make it a little harder to focus sometimes, but I think that's okay. I think sometimes when I'm doing art, I get almost like bored of this idea. I've got all these other ideas flooding in, but that's where the discipline comes in.
Yeah, training yourself to finish things and not to start 100 different. That I feel like is a common artistic trait. No matter what you are in your artistry, you get bored of the things that you start because your influence for it it goes away very quickly. Like I've started 100 songs, and a lot of the songs that I've made, you know, it's every day is like a whole new album I could make, and then I would make it and be like, I don't like that at all.
Yeah, and when you're working on something and you lose your passion, it feels like running out of breath. You know, it's like you're running a block or something, and halfway through you're like, ugh, I don't even feel like I have the energy. I don't want this anymore. You know.
And that's honestly, if you get that, you should put it away because that's the art of art. It's supposed to feel good. or feel bad, whatever emotion you're getting out, but it shouldn't feel boring.
Mm-hmm.
You should
Yeah.
either have like that anger, the love, or the excitement.
Yeah.
You shouldn't, yeah.
It could be cathartic, or it could be adventurous, or nostalgic, or just interesting, depending on what your experience is, I think.
Yeah, whatever emotions backing the influence.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's a lot of it too for me, because a lot of mine comes from like learning, and then I want to educate through my music or something like that.
Yeah. There is something to be said for realism, I would say. It takes a lot of that discipline, because there's definitely moments where you're like, I am so sick. I'm so sick of painting this bootlace or something, or I'm tired of drawing the heel of this shoe. But then there's still those moments. It's more of a journey, you know. You'll have times where you're feeling bored or frustrated, where you're excited to move on to the next thing. And then there's moments where it's like, oh wow, it's really satisfying doing these little grommets or whatever. Or
What's a grommet?
I think that's the metal,
Oh, okay.
the metal like circle hole. Or fact checking.
Yeah, back
Yeah.
checking us for us, please, sir.
What was the result? Did that pourquoi tail thing come out of my butt, or
I don't know if it's a parable. That's what I got for
a
stories.
parable?
Like, a parable is like a story.
Yeah.
Like a beginning, it says it.
Parables are religious stories for
Yeah,
sure.
pretty much.
Yeah, went to Catholic school
Oh
growing
yeah.
up, so I'm very like experienced with the conformed religion aspect of things.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm happy that I've went not to the other side, but now I'm evil. But at one point in my life, I was atheist, and now I'm like, I have this great balance where I
Yeah.
know there's something, but it's not conformity.
This thing's full, bro.
Oh, is it? It's not true. We just have to start it again. Stuck to my chair. If you want to take 5 minutes, if you need to piss or do jumping jacks.
Parable.
Okay.
Here, pause for
Terrible.
the sound too.
Oh.
So the 30th?
Yeah.
Okay. Math. I know sacred geometry, but I can't count from 17 to 30.
Yeah. Oh, silly. What's your favorite thing to do on your birthday?
Take acid. Not like much recently, but me and Army. Fall is the best time for psychedelics because in the summer you get too hot. In the winter you get too hot and don't realize how cold you are, and you can hurt yourself. So you got to be really careful when you take psychedelics in the winter. But fall, you can get cold, but you're not gonna die.
Yeah.
And you can get hot, but you're not gonna be melting.
Yeah, you're not gonna get heat stroke or
Yeah.
hypothermia or anything like
Yeah,
that.
so the days will be nice and warm, but by night it's like the perfect. And we'd bike a lot. Biking in the summer is muggy. Biking in the winter is fun too. But yeah, no, for my birthday we'd usually go on bike journeys. So we'd get our bikes and we'd do the whole Munger Trail, or we'd go down into like the Morgan Park Steel Plant and go explore down there before they renovated all of it. It used to be like an abandoned. They had torn down the steel plant years and years ago, but there was still old foundation. But now they tore down all that stuff. There's a really nice story to me, Pink Floyd The Wall has been like a super inspirational album in my life. And there was a point where I only listened to it for a year.
Wow.
Other people listened to other music when I was with them, but if I chose the music, it was this one album for like a whole year. And years went by, or a year and a half or so, and I became friends with Army. And me and him were on this bike journey, and I was telling him the significance of the wall to me. And the night before, we had just went to a school dance, and I had went with this girl that had showed me the wall years before. I don't know where she hit me up and said, "Do you want to go to the school dance with me?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I went with her, and so I was telling him our history and the wall and the significance of all of it to me. And as we're biking, I look through the left, and through all these trees, there's this huge wall. Granted, I grew up in Morgan Park, so I've been down to the steel plant 1,000 times. Like, I thought I knew everywhere, but we found this new area, and there was this wall. It looked like it was endless. And it just felt super
Wow.
symbolic, and like it happened for me for that reason. And it was super,
Yeah.
super weird. And so that was like around my birthday. That's usually
Aw.
birthday stuff that we would do, is go
Yeah.
explore. And I don't know, there's something about like the fall leaves and the gray nights, and fall's my favorite season. I just really
Aw.
love fall.
I hear a lot of people tell me that, and I always couldn't get down with fall. I get cold and
Are you
sad.
just too much of a summer baby? You just love your
Anxious?
summer?
Yeah, I do. But I'm trying to learn to love fall, and my partner loves fall. It's his favorite holiday. It's his
Okay.
favorite thing. So I'm kind of trying to learn
Halloween's
from him.
his favorite holiday?
I don't know what
Me
his
and him would
favorite
be
holiday
best
is.
friends, because Halloween's my shit. As
Yeah.
you can tell, it's August and I already got my little Halloween decorations up.
Yeah.
I mixed it though. I still got the corn and the cob, and I guess
Uh-huh.
that could be a fall vibe too.
I mean, it ripens in the fall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I kind of dig the casual like skull and skeletons around. They can be around all year.
Yeah, see, I was just talking to someone about that. I love Halloween so much that I want it to be like a year-round thing. Because for one, the corporate holiday is different than the actual holiday. And so every culture around the world celebrates fall solstice in one way or another. Whether it has to do with Halloween or if it's Day of the Dead or whatever it is. And most of it is celebrating loss and appreciating harvest. So it's like these two, like humanity has existed on these two beliefs forever. All the other holidays have their significance, but like fall, Halloween, that means something to everyone on this planet. And I think that's why I like it so much. Is it's like, obviously it's the way the stars are in the solstice, but at the same time we should always appreciate the things that we gather and the people we've lost. And so that's
Yeah.
why I have it as a year-round appreciation. And then I've seen people that have like a giant skeleton in their yard, and then they decorate it for every season.
Yeah, that's
So
cute.
they have like their
Little
4th of the
Christmas one.
July or their Christmas skeleton, And I like that idea a lot, because then you never lose the incorporation of honoring the dead, because otherwise I don't know. That's one thing too with trying to be such a loving person to the people that are in my life that are alive, is that same respect to not forget the people that you've lost and stuff, and the people that other people have forgotten. When I had more free time on my hands, I would go to graveyards and find the oldest person that's in that gravestone, and I would just sit with them for like an hour, just hang out with them, because they're probably the only person or one of the people that don't get visited. This person's
Yeah,
been
they're
dead
so
from
old.
1845. Like, who comes and sees you? I'm the person that comes and sees them. And I'd talk, and I'll be like, yeah, I know that I have no connection, but I'm just like here to hang out with you. I used to see this guy all the time, and I'd smoke with him and put his ashes in his. This might be disrespectful, but I think I'm coming from a place of love, so, but I would like put some weed and the ashes in this bowl that was on top of his tombstone. His tombstone was built into a bowl. It might have been a flower pot at one point, but I would put it in there and mix it with the water, and then one day I came in and the water was red, and I was like, I'm not doing that anymore. I was like, oops, it's blood. He's telling me not to.
Oh my gosh. What would you think if you showed up to visit your family's tombstone and somebody had left like weed on it?
I would have been like, hell yeah.
Yeah, I think I would be pretty stoked. I would really wonder about who did that, but in kind of a curious, sweet way.
Yeah. There'd be two ways to it too. You'd be like, damn, so there's some teenagers partying out here. Or it would be
Yeah.
like, hey, someone's respectful. So it's like, you
Yeah.
just can't tell with an act like that. Because there's people that treat respectful things
Like they're
bad,
just-
.
And then they put food coloring in the water on their great grandpappy's headstone to scare away the stoners.
See, I'm going to learn all these tricks. My favorite thing is I do this thing, I can... If I do it loud and like really do it, it sounds better and scarier. But in the middle of the woods, when I see some teenagers having a fire out at Lester, I'm going to do that in the middle of the woods and watch everyone run. It's a fucking skinwalker, run!
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I can't believe how unafraid I was to be drunk in those woods.
Yeah, no, everyone thinks that it's nilly-nally when you're a kid, and then something bad happens, and then you realize.
Didn't even consider that there were people. I knew there were people living in the woods, and still I was like, oh, we'll just
Yeah.
party out. You know, in reality, maybe that's fine, but yeah.
Well, it's that, being able to do, like, as a kid, like, oh yeah, just be back by the sunset. Like, it's good to have some of those freedoms, because otherwise you'll never know what the real world consists of.
Yeah.
And you are a sheltered person that, I don't know, I don't know if I told you this when we were hanging out last, but I was at this show on Monday, and I'm dancing, and this kid, they told me to move, like, I dance with everyone. I just take turns dancing with people, try to get them out of their shells. And I went and danced with this kid, and he's like, move out of my way, I'm trying to listen to live music. I'm like, if it's, I don't know, I was just, hurt me. I wanted to say something to him. Not in a real way, but I'm like, why are you out in public at a show if you don't want to be around people?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's
And that reminded me of whatever you just said for some reason. But I don't know why.
Why are you partying in the woods if you don't want to be around the people that live in the woods?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Even if you don't know that they're there.
True that.
Yeah. There was this time that I was just camping in Leicester with some people for about 2.5 weeks or so. And
What spot were you guys at?
it was one of the party spots.
Okay. Black
Yeah.
couch spot? Do you know about the black couch? Okay. There was just a
No.
couch someone had carried, like, into the middle of the woods.
Oh my, I never found a black couch.
Okay.
That's cool though.
It wasn't cool. All the cushions are like condoms pushed in.
Ew.
It was nasty. I didn't touch that couch.
Oh, God.
I never touched that couch.
Oh no.
That was somebody's couch. They brought that out there for them.
Yeah.
This is where they bring their dates.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, I got a couch at the house. The house is a fire spot in the woods.
Oh my god.
Watch the TV. It's like they have rocks just set up. They just sit there and stare at the rocks.
Maybe if it's dark enough, the dates won't see all the crusty condoms.
Yeah, I don't know. It was
That's so gross.
super gross.
Yeah. It was like a fire spot that was a little bit closer to things, so every once in a while hikers would hike through and then like see us and be like,
Is it like this? Deep
Scary.
up trail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Telephone poles.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
That's where the black couch was.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it just wasn't there when we were
It only was there for like 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, when I rolled up with a big group of travelers and a lot of people that were like just always living on the road, you know?
Yeah.
And we spent the whole first day just cleaning up the spot, like
Nice.
cleaned up all the beer cans. And
Oh
all
yeah,
the
there's always hella bottles and.
yeah, all the broken glass. We like made it pristine.
Nice.
Actually, because of that, when somebody reported us and folks had to come out, they saw us and they were like, wow, this looks a lot better. You gotta move, but like, this looks pretty good. And I was like, it's almost dark. Can we stay one more night? And they were like, okay. They gave us a little grace. And
That's cool.
they brought back a second group of people of workers that just wanted to see it, which
True.
I thought was really interesting.
Okay, they must have worked for the city or something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So several years ago. And
You know how many times we probably were in the same. I was just that's weird. I could see a movie now in my head of just like all the missed eye contacts, like everything that we were doing was probably just the complete opposites. Our back was always turned to each other, no matter who we talked to or what we did. We
Yeah.
never had the interaction,
yeah.
even though we were in the same spots a million times.
So interesting. Yeah. There was one day when I went and I climbed on top of that big fallen down tree, and I was just journaling and playing ukulele and decompressing alone. I thought I was alone, but I wasn't. And a couple days later, I was walking down the trail and this guy with a pack was like, hey, you're staying around here, aren't you? And I was like, what do you mean? I didn't want some random person to know that.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh yeah, me too. I mean, you sat on my house." I was like, "What?" He said, "Yeah, my girlfriend and I are super camouflaged under that tree that you sat on." And we were just giggling. We were just like stifling our giggles, trying not to give it away. But you were like hanging out right on top of us. I thought that was so funny. So I was like, "Yeah, you let me meet your girlfriend, and like you guys should come to our camp for dinner." And so we started having dinners with him.
Weird.
We turned into like our neighbors for a little bit.
That's cool.
Yeah,
But weird at the same time.
it was pretty wild.
I can imagine being that guy though, because there's been times where I'm somewhere. Remember when we were in Dom's house and he had to go to work and his mom came home and we were tripping. We just were like hiding in the under like blankets on the floor or something. We were just like laying there, like we needed to leave or something. I don't know how did we get out of his house?
We just waited for his mom to leave. We just sat on his bed, high as shit, just sitting there.
Just making no noise.
Yeah, his dog. I remember his dog. He had big dogs.
Yeah, the two pit bulls. Yeah. Rip.
They didn't do anything. Like, they're pretty nice.
They
They
were
were
probably
lovely
They were
dogs.
probably okay with you because you showed up with your friend.
And I'd been over there a million times. I was friends with his little sister before I was even friends with him, so yeah. No, those were good times or whatever. Thank you for being willing to be on the podcast, even though it's like not like super formal and just
Yeah.
pretty relaxed, you know. And as time, like one thing too that I want to be able to have certain people that can be reoccurring as their comfortability is or whatever like
Yeah.
that. But just throughout my evolution, because I'll know how to do things better and plugging people in. Let's say in a year from now, the relativity or something of me is more, and the first one we have has 100 views, but now I have ones that have 10,000. Well, I'm gonna
Yeah.
want to re-bring those people on to give them the
Yeah.
platform again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So it's like this is a fruit that will grow. You know, you're investing in a tree when it's this.
And an avocado tree.
Yeah, I'm an avocado tree for all these people that I wanna. Like I said, I want to be involved in the community and help people and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
people being willing to like, I'll be part of your thing, even though because I know people have pride and things like that, and sometimes it's like giving the homeless guy $1, you know, like I'll give the guy with money $1 because I know that he's gonna spend it well. Well, that's how people will be with social media content and stuff like that sometimes too. They're like, I'm not gonna give you my time because you're not worth it yet, and I'm not worth it yet. So I appreciate when people are willing to take like that sacrifice for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
Dress up in a gnome costume.
Yeah, dress up, hang out, I don't know, have a good time. We were talking about a whole bunch of just random different shit. I think he had a couple of things that he had saved up that he wanted to bring up.
Not really. It's just about the world. You guys are already talking about all good stuff, so.
You have it. If you have it up, you can talk about it, brother.
No, we're already past those subjects.
All right.
Did we talk about him or?
Yeah, it was things that we talked about, but he had to sit and look while we moved on to other topics. But it's fine to bring it back up. See how informal I am? We don't have to like, oh, we already passed that topic. We're not allowed to talk about it. Just bring it up. Talk about it.
There's something about the internet. We only use like 0.004% of the total internet. There's like these things called zettabytes, which is like a trillion gigabytes or something like that.
Whoa.
No, a trillion terabytes.
And each zettabyte is 1 trillion terabytes. And a terabyte's 10,000 gigabytes. Right?
I'm not sure.
Or is it 1,000 gigabytes? Because tera's 10. Yeah, that's probably. No. I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't know anything. I do a lot of pretending I know. Like you said, did I just pull that out of my ass? There's a lot of that. Fact check everything I've ever said ever. I'm just a person like everyone else. I have no idea what I'm doing.
That pourquoi thing, I'm pretty sure I learned that when I was 7. I was in 1st grade and I had a teacher who was really into French culture.
Okay, that sounds very French.
Yeah, she taught us that. But yeah, it was like a memory so old I could barely remember it. So it's
Right.
like,
How would that be spelled? Like with a Q?
oh yeah, we looked it up. It's like Pour. Quoi or something like that.
Yeah, you had it. I'm pretty sure. I couldn't
Pourquoi?
find it. I don't know why.
Oh,
I looked it up, but I couldn't find it.
oh
so
no. Oh,
I know it's on
it's
your
real.
phone.
It's real.
I'll find it and I'll just put it up on the screen or
Send it to
something.
you.
I did that one with me and him. We sat and we had like a 3.5 hour, like it was the longest podcast I had. It was 3 hours. We talked about so much stuff. I looked everything up. I put all the cuts into the video, and then I forgot that I like deleted a clip. So now everything we talked about, it would pop up on the screen like 10 minutes later.
Oh.
So we would talk about something, I'd look it all up, and then we'd move on to a new topic, and there'd just be like shit on the screen about the stuff
Oh
we were
my
talking about
gosh.
earlier.
Oh my gosh.
So it was the sources were still there,
Yeah.
but it was off topic. I don't know, it was pretty funny.
That's really silly.
Yeah. You said you went to the desert. What desert did you go to?
Yeah, the Mojave Desert. It's in the LA mountains.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not out of country desert.
That's where Fallout is. In Fallout, New Vegas.
You would know that.
Yeah. No, that's funny. Is it like, is there a lot of hills?
Yeah, there's flat, there's a lot. I mean, it's a really diverse place. There's mountains and there's foothills and valleys and flat lake beds and
No water?
a little water. There's a little water.
Alright.
Not compared to here though, and definitely not as many trees. But yeah, there's a lake. Well, there's a man-made lake, and then in the mountains, in certain mountains, I think that there's small lakes and rivers and stuff. But
Was it really hot?
yeah,
Is it less humid, so it's more bearable with the heat?
yeah, it's super dry heat. When I was there recently, I think it was like an average of 103 degrees every day.
Holy.
But it would get hotter than that.
But with the lack of humidity, it's not like so heavy on you. Like you don't feel like it's hard to breathe, or is it still like?
No, it doesn't feel hard to breathe. It's very dry. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not humid at all.
Okay. I don't like. I went to Portland once, which isn't the desert, but I was on the coast. You know, with that whole different atmosphere and biome. And before we even got off the airplane, as soon as we landed in Duluth, I could feel it. Getting off, going from even the airplane to the tunnel to the airport, so humid and muggy, and we were in air conditioned. Going from the plane through that to outside, felt like I was like climbing through like a sauna. It just kept
Yeah.
getting wetter and wetter. I was like, oh my gosh. And it was only like 70 degrees,
Yeah.
but it felt like heavy and gross. And I was like, I don't wonder why they say hell, it's not the heat, it's the humidity. Like I never realized that until I had the outside perspective of, oh, I was in 80-degree weather on the coast and it felt 60. Came to Duluth and it's 10 degrees colder, but it feels warmer because of the humidity
Yeah.
and its stickiness. And that's another thing with my eczema. I want to live somewhere where it's warmer, but I need a break from humidity. Humidity, like that's what eczema is your body's allergic to water. It's not allergic,
Really?
but your cells refuse to accept it.
Interesting.
So it's like the humidity always makes it worse. So dry heat is a good sign. So I could go to a desert. That sounds fine.
You could chill in the desert. It's really interesting. You have to drink a lot more water, and I like nature a lot, so I was always itching to get outdoors.
Yeah.
And if we were gonna hike that day, we had to go in the morning. You have to go hiking in the morning,
Right.
and you got to be wrapping it up by like noon, because by that time it's just getting so hot that you're like
What about late night?
almost giving yourself heat stroke. Yeah, or late at night.
Okay.
Although depending on the time of year, you have to worry a little more about rattlesnakes and stuff.
Oh, I suppose. Yeah.
Because they come out at night.
Yeah. Living in somewhere where there isn't many predators, we only have big predators. Like at Lester, me and Dom almost had to fight a bear. Like it
No.
was that chair. It's probably closer than that chair at the scariest time. We were in these trees, and so I don't have to worry about rattlesnakes, but there are the chances of big predators around here. But it's like having that, and then you go to a place where it's like you can't step. Make sure you don't step anywhere because you will die. It's like what? You have to like actually be conscientious about where you're walking and stuff like that. And I haven't had to deal with much of that, but at least I'm aware of it so that if I travel,
Yeah. You can be
look up
conscious.
the animals before you go there.
Yeah.
You know? I do this
about
thing
what
too.
spiders,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
gonna be around and stuff.
Did you have any while you were out there? Did you do like any like art pieces that were particular to that like journey or anything like that?
I really want to, but I didn't. I guess I picked up spinning wool by hand while I was
Okay,
out there. And so I was spinning some wool and doing some crocheting, which
that's
is
pretty
art.
beautiful. That's cool. So, did you know how to crochet before, and then this was investing more into it? So now you know how to make your own yarn, and you can crochet. See,
Yeah.
I like that a lot too with the resourcefulness of like a hobby or something like that. Like you can, yeah, I like being the difference between being a smith and someone that just uses a grindstone. Like yeah, you can sharpen tools, but can you build your tool? And I think that's like really important. That if you really find passion in something, you need to like understand where it comes from. It's the working a service job, so that when you go to a restaurant, you understand what people, if you're a snob because you've never worked a retail job, you can tell. And so I think it's like that. Like you have your craft and you understand the work that's put into it. If you make your own paints, then you can like really cherish how much work went into a painting. You didn't just go to the store and buy a 24 pack of paints. You went and collected plants and created your own paints, learned the viscosity levels of what to mix with to have oil base and like learning all that stuff. And then now as a painter, you are like fulfilled in your art
Yeah,
compared to just being like, yeah, I bought paint and made something cool.
right. That's my goal as a painter is to eventually be making my own materials and at least working if I can make my own paint and I can figure out how to work with secondhand materials and make my own everything, that would be
Right.
top level
Yeah.
for me.
And maybe certain things are like we were talking about building a nice place out in the woods as a community, and the difference between trying to mill your own wood and buying milled wood. And it's like some things are just easier to get done, like paintbrushes. Maybe it's worth spending a little bit more to get ethically sourced instead of like having to worry about it being whatever. You could get, but making your own brushes might be too much work. You can make your own paint, but do I really want to learn how to make brushes too, or can I just find a way
Yes.
to make it ethical and help people? And two, because there's probably someone that
Yeah.
really takes pride in their craft of building brushes for painters. And so trying to find something like that where it's like I don't like mass production of stuff, well, whether it's necessary or not. But like if that blender could have been made by someone that likes making blenders, I would rather have that. Doesn't mean I have to know how to make everything that I want to own, but being able to know that someone had passion involved in every part of my something that'd be really meaningful and
Yeah.
cool.
And if you can't get that level of things, I think that's where I turn to buying things secondhand as I can,
Yeah, because then you're not adding
Secondhand
to
brushes is a
landfills.
little tougher, but yeah, like whenever it comes to something that's fabric or beads or household items a lot
Yeah,
of the time.
yeah, like that blender, that's his because he got a new one for free, so he gave me his old one for free. And then instead of me buying a new blender to create more waste, it's being recycled. I really want a KitchenAid. I got my parents a nice KitchenAid, and those are expensive if you get like the older ones too, because they're all steel everything. I want one of those. I'd make desserts. I like cooking a lot. That's another art that I really like cooking, but baking. I make really good Christmas cookies.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
the Christmas cookie master.
Yeah. My partner's really into baking.
I think me and him should date.
He loves baking so much and loves fall and loves apples and
I live off apples. I eat probably 3 apples a day.
yeah.
Yeah.
Aw.
Army too. How many apples do you eat a day, bud?
Just one.
Oh.
Well, just one apple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Apple
one.
a day keeps the feds away.
Yes.
Keeps you on the run.
Yeah.
You get all the carbohydrates. It's ready to go.
Yeah, and it's light on your stomach and it cleans your mouth. Yeah. Not many fruits are like that. I've realized that too. That you can, if you're smart about your diet, you could like live off of. You could brush your teeth with sugar, which sounds really weird. People don't think of it as that way because sugar feeds cavities. but it's because processed sugars and unhealthy sugars and sticky sugars and carbs and stuff like that. But if you didn't eat carbs and just had apples or something like that's how you brushed your teeth was with an apple. You know,
Yeah, it's kind of fibery and
it's fibrous and they're proven to be like they help your enamel and clean your teeth.
really,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah. So if you're ever in a pinch, you don't got a toothbrush, eat an apple.
Scrub your teeth with an
Yeah.
apple.
Yeah, just put the skin between and have floss.
Yeah, use the skin as floss. That's a good ass idea.
Uh-huh.
I want to get an apple peeler too. That'd be cool. Just have one out in the woods where you can stick it in your apple. And because I could eat like 30 apples, but I couldn't eat 30 apples worth of skin. Like the skin is harder on the stomach than the fruit itself.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Wax too, if you don't feel like a good apple.
Wild apples. Me and him, we go on apple heists, but I grew up in the neighborhood. So all the people like at first, and then they realize, oh, that's that kid that used to bike around. But me and him, we go into my old neighborhood and we used to just like fill up our backpack with apples and then go on those bike rides I was telling you about. And we'd live off apples, literally. Like that was our food source was apples. And then you're like using so much energy, like I should have fat or protein. Like I was hurting my body for sure, just living off of sugar, but fun times, yeah. Damn. Okay, so you made crochet out there, but no paintings. Okay.
Yeah, I'd really like to do paintings though. I was feeling really inspired. I just didn't really have the time or the materials because I was out there for other reasons. But there's the U.S. does artist residencies in all the different national parks.
What?
I hope they still do it. They've been cutting a lot of funding, but yeah, that's been a thing for a long time. Where basically you submit an application, and if you get picked, you get paid to go stay in this national park. Sometimes there's, Isle Royale, I think, has a cabin for these artist residencies. You stay in a little cabin for 2 weeks.
Can you bring your kid with you?
Probably. There's a couple where the rule is that you can't do it alone, that you have to bring someone with you.
Okay. I've heard of people that are like DNR or something like that, but they live in a cabin 200 miles into the woods somewhere or something like that. But to be able to do it just for, what did you say, 2 weeks or a month?
Yeah, 2 weeks. Each one is a little different.
They're probably different, but...
There's, and it works for musicians too.
Okay, so it's not just like, I was going to say, they might not accept me because I'm not a realistic drawer, but just for the artistic expression from that place.
Yeah.
I think that's just important too. It doesn't need to, like I was saying, I think I talked to you about this, about not being able to draw very symmetrically, but my art's still art. And I always would beat myself up on that. Like, oh, I can't make something look perfect. But it doesn't need to be. It's your
it's your
thing
art.
of it. It's your art of it. And so, what do they call it? Art is the eyes of the beholder.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I just put some art up for this charity auction last night, and I was at the auction, and when I was showing up, I was thinking like, yeah, I mean, these are paintings that I have had for a really long time, but nobody's bought them, or, I've had them on display and nobody's bought them yet. But for some reason that night at the auction, each piece had a person who was so attached and so emotionally invested.
Did you sell everything you brought yesterday? Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah.
Dang.
And like,
do you usually do that, or is that something kind of like you'll probably sell something, but do you usually sell everything that you came with?
I mean, it depends. Like the last charity auction I put stuff in, I don't think anything sold. And it just...
Did you feel pretty satisfied or like fulfilled with like your work?
I felt really
That's awesome.
happy.
I'm happy for you for that.
Yeah, especially because the people who it seemed like the art ended up exactly in the hands of who it was meant to.
That's cool.
Almost in a way that
other people didn't get it, and you held on to it for so long for that to happen.
Like it almost justified that I still had it. It was like, oh yeah, this definitely shouldn't have gone any other way. It was really sweet. That gives me.
Okay, I just got like a little hug from myself inside of things that I don't find great with, like old songs or something like that, but someone else will find it valuable, whether that's not yet or not. So that's cool. That's nice to hear that all expression is meant to be observed at some point or another.
Yeah, someone might see it and fall in love with it in 3 years.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of those paintings I think I did maybe 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it I had it for a long time, moved with it at least once,
Yeah.
and yeah. And the person, so there's this old frame, and it's a wooden frame that's all busted up, kind of. It's just scuffed. And then it's got the glass, and then on the inside, I had my matted, like my blue mat board, and then the painting inside. So it's this framed piece, and
Nice.
this, I was walking back from the bathroom, and this bartender flagged me down, and he was like, "Hey, well, you're Kathryne Ford, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he told me that he had one of my paintings hanging in his living room, and that he's had it there for years, and told me all about, yeah, what it meant to him and stuff. And I thought that was so cool. I told him, like, that's the best thing for me to hear. I love to know that, it's being loved by somebody.
That's cool.
And then I told him about this fundraiser that was going on in the literal patio of the spot he was working, and that I had some paintings there he could win. And literally at the end of the night, the last band is saying, "Okay, this is our last song, and then we're going to announce the winners for the raffle." Right after she says that, I see this bartender come running out, and he runs up to me, and he's like, "Did I miss the raffle yet?" I was like, "No, man, this is your last chance. Like, get after it." And he got his tickets. It was like each item was a raffle, so you'd buy so many tickets to put in the jar, and hopefully that's what you'd get. Hopefully you'd get drawn. But in reality, you're donating to the soup kitchen, so
Right.
it's all in good fun. But
That's cool.
yeah, he got his tickets in there right in the nick of time, and then he had to run back in and go back to work. And he won the painting that he wanted, and it was so sweet and so cool.
Damn.
Yeah,
All
so
meant to see.
serendipitous.
And we're talking about connecting dots. Those are dots that connect themselves, and that's where things are more important. Finding the dots that connect themselves instead of forcing that to connect.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Damn.
Yeah, it was really sweet. And similar things with the other ones, like one lady won this other set of paintings, and she told me that if she didn't get it, she was gonna try to commission me to reproduce them. And I just smiled, because I thought to myself, like, oh man, it's a good thing you got that, because I would not.
Are you like a one and done? Like you can never recreate something? It's hard
Yeah.
to draw the same thing twice for me.
I just don't get any joy out of it.
Maybe that's where it is for me. I just
Yeah.
find no joy, so there's no passion to like execute it. Okay.
Yeah, there's one painting that I've created 3 or 4 times.
We doing okay over there?
Where's your mic at?
Right here.
Put it up a little.
That's fine.
You missed a lot.
Oh, I guess with my voice is lower and it's further away. It'll still be fine. I can adjust the sound too. Were you like one of those people that always had like their paintings up at school, like in like a display? Like when did you told me you started drawing when you were a kid, as did I, but when did you were you always interested in like displaying it?
I guess I was. I think when I was in high school and when I was in middle school, I was to the point where most of my art that I was making was still very private, and I had no intentions of showing anybody. But then I was getting into the mindset of like, I want to present something for someone. I want to make an art show, or I want to contribute to an art show. And then I would also find pieces that I'd made or create pieces that I wanted to be part of that. So it was definitely I was a lot less geared towards that than I am now. But in middle school, I was in an elementary school art show, I think is the earliest.
Okay.
But it was part of the talent show at my school.
Nice.
It was like only kids, It was
Yeah.
a kid art show.
I used to be part of the talent shows.
Yeah.
I'd always dance to Black Eyed Peas songs, or in middle school as an MC.
Oh,
I
fun.
was in the student council, so the student council ran the talent show. So I'd be like, up next is this person. And that night, I had drinking. I was in 8th grade, like a little toasted, and I remember standing in front of like 1,000 people, and I just stood and stared at everyone for like 2 minutes. I just sat there. I couldn't like find like I'm a little boy. Like I'm
No
not like
words.
I can't just be like, yell with my deep voice. Like I'm a little boy, like, excuse me. And I tried to say something once and I didn't get people's attention and I just like sat there. And then I got it. Eventually I got
Oh
it.
my
And I was
gosh.
talking again, but I just remember that moment. It didn't define me, but I could feel that I was always that person that could never present in front of the class. I always had my teacher present for me and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me a long time to become this person that can just talk to strangers and like have like a conversation because I was always really shy about that stuff. But that's besides the point. I was just saying I was in the talent show.
Yeah. Yeah, the talent show is a really cool phenomenon. We should have more talent shows just hosted at like Leif Erikson or whatever.
That would be it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's try to figure a way to do that next summer. By next summer, I'll have talent shows in Leif Erikson Park
Yeah.
before movies in the park
Yeah.
or something like that. That'd be cool. Because they got the stage down there.
And there's electricity coming out of that plug on the stage.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That should be put into fruition. Can't let
Yeah.
anyone hear that. No one steal that. We patented it. We own it.
My friend Bruce and I, we did a concert to nobody one time, and he really went all in. I mean, he brought an amp and 2 mics and an electric guitar and a water ski slide guitar that his friend made. It was like a homemade slide guitar on a water
Or
ski.
slide, the one that you put like on a table.
Yeah, with a pickup.
Yeah.
So it's electric water ski slide.
Did it sound good?
Yeah, it sounded great. And we literally jammed and played songs and just shot the shit. We talked to each other in like New Jersey and British accents and we were
That sounds hella fun.
yeah, we were just being so goofy. We were definitely probably disturbing the peace. But yeah, people would walk by and sometimes they'd come and sit down and watch us and then continue on with their day. Or if we were just talking in accents, they'd be like, what is
Yeah.
these 2 people like on stage with these microphones?
That's funny. I taught myself Swedish when I was in middle school. And I never became like fluent. But I knew enough to talk that I would pretend to be on the phone and I would walk around a canal speaking Swedish just to get people to look at me. And I would like I'd always act suspicious. I'd be like, "Vi är Americans," and I just like to say it to make it seem like I was talking mad shit or something. I don't know what I was doing. I was bored in middle school.
Yeah.
But yeah, that just reminded me of that.
Little social, it's not really an experiment because there's nothing like
the
scientific
engineering.
about it, but like just little social pranks almost are really interesting.
Yeah.
Or having,
I like doing that a lot. It's the social experiment or engineering or whatever they want to call that. Like me and him would do that on the bus. I'd always be like, the new microchip I got's been itching, bro. How was yours? And he'd be like, yeah, mine's kind of buzzing and itching recently too. And we would like pretend to be scratching at microchips, which probably just makes us look schizophrenic. But it's enough for people, like just to see how people react when you do stuff like that. Or me and Dom, when we're out at the bars, I'll come up to someone and I'll be like, do you know about the hesitation? And then they'll be like, what? And then they'll be like, what? And then I'll point at my friend. I'll be like, hey, you, do you know about that? And he'd be like, yes. And to watch the way people like react to that, because it's the loud music. If you just did that right now, you'd be like, oh, he's mumbling. But with the loud music, you think, yeah, people look at us like they're trying to actually hear what we're saying. And then eventually they just smile and nod. Like, yeah. And then we just go, okay. And we walk away.
People can play along a little bit. Yeah. There was this time that I was selling art, and I just was sitting on a little blanket on the sidewalk selling my art, and a sick little bird landed behind me, and eventually I was in this position where I'm holding it like it was chilling. I thought it was totally gonna die, and I was like, man, I'll keep you safe until you die. But it actually got better. But yeah, there was a while where I was holding it like this, and it's this small little brown bird, and I had mittens on, and people would walk by, and I wanted to show them that I was holding this wild bird and how cool and cute it was, and they wouldn't see it right away. And the amount of people who just looked at me and thought I was crazy and walked right by without ever seeing this very real bird that I had blew my mind. It was like 8 out of 10 people.
That's like when you're swatting at a bug and no one knows there's a bug. So you're just over there.
Yeah. So
Like,
many
what are they
people just
doing?
didn't get to see it.
That's cool. Okay.
But the 2 out of 10 people, they would like give it a second glance and then they'd be shocked and they'd be like, oh my gosh, and they'd grab the person next to them and be like, wake up, look at this bird.
Okay.
And eventually I got this crowd of strangers to help me pack up my paintings and carry them back to my car with me so
And
that I
did you
could.
bring that bird to the same place you brought the last one?
No, actually. So it was a similar scenario. The wildlife place was closed for the night. So they were like, if you want to try, you have to keep it overnight. And this time it was fall, so it was getting a little colder. And I made a box for it and I put a little warming pad under half the box. But the safety mechanism of the warming pad would turn itself off every hour. So I had to wake up every hour. I had alarms on my phone to wake me up so that I would wake up and turn the
Very
pad back
restful
on. Yeah.
You touched REM twice that night. You like, oh, now it's time to be up again.
Yeah.
Every time you got to REM. That's funny. Oh, I forgot to ask you that when you were talking about dreams. Are you like a lucid dreamer or?
Sometimes I know I'm in a dream, but I've never been able to control them.
Okay, that's me. I have very vivid dreams that I experience as if they were real life, but I can never control. I mean, I can control my choices,
Yeah.
but I can't be like, no, there's a staircase. Like I can't just like create my world, but they're very vivid. And so you were just talking about how impossible they are.
Yeah.
And I just was wondering if you're like a nightly dreamer. Like some people say they don't remember their dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And people say that when you quit smoke, if you're a pothead, when you quit smoking, your dreams will be more. And they're like the same. Like I'm there all the time. I go to that place. Like you're saying, you can just close your eyes and be where you would be if you were dreamed.
Yeah. I've met several people that were heavy smokers that didn't have dreams, and when they had to go on a tea break for some reason, usually like they're applying for a job or something, so they have to take a whole month before they can pee clean. I've heard that where they'll start talking about their dreams and they're like kind of distressed by them. It's this new intense experience. They're like, I go to sleep and I have nightmares and I wake up stressed.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
what's all that about? You know?
I just tell them, be blessed that that's not every night, whether you smoke or not, because that's me. Like with my past experience with like homelessness and living at Leicester and stuff like that, something happens to your brain, especially in developmental time, where for like the first 3 years, when I lived with him, if someone opened the door, I would wake up. Like any movement would wake me up. I
Yeah.
had slept with one eye open for a long time.
Yeah, you had to.
And so that also kind of brought along like night terror, nightmare type of stuff. And I've healed a lot from that. But finding safety and having a home that's a house and my daughter and stuff like that helped me get over that hump. But definitely having like a stressful dream every night is definitely. You wake up tired still or stressed out sometimes. But
Yeah. I always had nightmares since I was a kid. And I didn't really stop having every night like really terrible nightmares until halfway through high school. Then it was more every now and then, but it was still a lot. And then now as an adult, I would say it's definitely a minority of my dreams would be nightmares. Yeah. But yeah, since early childhood, every single night, these crazy nightmares, and never.
I think that's just a
figured it
sign
out.
of, obviously there's probably some things that happen to us that give us that, but it's also, like we're talking about imagination and
Yeah.
trading it in for stuff. But that's like if you have vivid dreams, you must have like a vivid life too, like having lots of experiences and
Yeah.
imagination and stuff like that.
A therapist told me as a little tween, a little 13-year-old, about that. He said that I was addicted to stress, and that if my life wasn't stressful enough, my body would create the cortisol for me by giving me really stressful dreams.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I relate a lot to that. When we were talking about that earlier this week, I was like, I definitely have. That's where I was talking about finding trouble to relax, like putting myself, making sure I had stress, but learning how to have healthy stress and to have that balance is definitely important.
Yeah.
I have one more question for you, so I can feel it in your feet. What was your first cigarette?
When was my first
Do you
cigarette?
remember your first cigarette?
Yeah.
We were sitting, and that guy put the garbage in the cigarette thing.
Oh, that's
And
right.
I was like, I have a question for you, but I'll ask you here because that's my reoccurring question. I
gosh.
ask every guest
What
if
was
they
your
remember
first
their
cigarette?
first cigarette, if they had one.
I don't think I smoked in high school. Maybe when I was 18.
Damn, that would have been legal for you for a short period of time. You're the same age as me, right?
I feel like I was smoking weed way before I was smoking cigarettes as
Okay.
a kid. Yeah. Gosh, I don't know if I can remember my first one.
Were you like you only smoked cigarettes when you drank or something like that?
It was more like every once in a while if somebody like if everyone was sharing, you
Okay,
know,
okay.
or something like that.
It's okay if it's not a super crazy story. It's just a lot of times it's like when I was
Yeah.
12, I stole my like I
Yeah,
just like to
stole my dad's cigarettes
yeah,
or something.
I like to get the fun stories. And if it's just like you socially smoked, then that's okay too.
Yeah, I think I just socially. Oh, I think that one of my earlier cigarette experiences would be after I broke up with a really lousy boyfriend and I was 18 and I was really into the cigarette and McDonald's combination. Just like the two worst things that you can.
What were you having, McChickens?
It would be like the McDonald's cheeseburger where they give you two cheeseburgers.
Okay.
And fries, just like the most
Okay.
classic. And I would lay in my hammock. I just have this vivid memory of laying in my hammock with my brand new friends that were about to be my college friends, you know, and smoking the cigarette and thinking I was really cool, even though.
I had that aesthetic period too. Like I
Yeah.
used to give myself like hand tattoos with Sharpies and like smoke cigarettes, and I'd get a lot of bloody noses because I was snorting stuff and drinking alcohol. So alcohol thins
Yeah.
your blood and whatever. So I had this picture. I remember there's like blood running down my fingers, and I'm like got a cigarette in my mouth.
You
Little-
thought that you looked so good,
I
and
thought
in
it was,
hindsight, you're
yeah.
like, oh
I was
no.
like 15. Like no 15-year-old should be taking pictures like that.
Oh my gosh, nobody should take
But
pictures.
but you get enabled. The girl enables you and goes,
Oh, it looks so cool. It looks so cool. Yeah.
you know.
I know that, like, that boyfriend that I just broken up with smoked because he thought it looked cool. And I must have thought it looked cool, but I also feel like I knew that it wasn't. I don't know. But I waited until after that. I think that's when I probably started.
Okay,
That's crazy.
cool. All right, well, thanks for being on the pod.
Speaking of
You're good.
cigarettes,
It's already full.
Oh, my first cigarette?
yeah. What was your first cigarette?
Just don't pause the volume. Just keep the volume going if the video stopped again. My first cigarette is, we left Walgreens, me and my friend. And we had just taken alcohol from his parents. And we went down to Walgreens, and then we went out, and I found a bunch of pre-rolled. I'd already had like a cigar or something at this point, but these are my first cigarettes. We went up to the graveyard, and the one with the cherry hole, if you know that spot at all. It's a cliff, and then there's like a swimming hole under a bridge
cool.
and stuff by the cemetery. We went up there, and he took like a couple of hits, but I smoked like 6 cigarettes that day, and we drank, and then I went to charge my phone at what I thought was the cemetery, but it was someone's house. So the police showed up. I'm like in 8th grade, and I like got the police to go away, and my friend was like, afterwards he's like, bro, how'd you do that? I was like, I don't know.
We're like drunk and we're smoking cigarettes and we're 12 and
Yeah.
we're out of someone's house.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So the benefits of having your shirt tucked in and being nice even when you do nefarious activities. That was always my camouflage, is I just look really nice. Hey, I'm a nice white boy.
Let me use all that privilege that I got.
Yeah, let me use all this privilege for negative. But yeah, that's my first cigarette, and then my second one was I stole a pack out of someone's car when I was also in 8th grade.
Yeah.
And
When you go car shopping.
yeah, car shopping. You remember that?
I remember. I didn't, but
I know
like
you
it was
weren't
that kind of thing.
involved in that stuff.
I knew all the folks that were doing it.
Yeah. We were like we're just like the same people.
Yeah, I got all the lore.